let's get back to this yearbook thing because you're right. I mean, people try to rewrite history and try to recreate the narrative. So Coop and I came with this idea of like, look, what we need to do with these conversations that we're having with ourselves and you guys, we need to actually put this in a booklet, tangible form where people can actually see and read this from years to come. So all of this stuff that's in, this book are discussions that we've had on this chat, that we've had on YouTube. And so let's just say, we go off the grid, YouTube goes away, people will actually still be able to have this thing in physical form. So the 2021 yearbook, it's basically our, according to Hip Hop Awards, man, this is our Grammys. And we gave out our awards, and we got the top 20 verses in there, got top 20 singles in there, song of the year in there, top 20 albums. What else am I missing, Coop?
Oh, no. I was just listening to you talk. Keep talking.
And you know what else we did too, man? We paid respect in this book to all of our fallen soldiers in hip hop and people, that are no longer here as well. So, we chronicalized everything just based on what happened, what you guys were talking about, the albums that people were talking about. And it's on Amazon right now. The link is actually in our community section. So if y'all want, a link to this book, go ahead, cop it. You'll have it in days. But yeah, we've seen a lot of people rewriting history. And so once you have this and just have this in your possession, nobody could sit there and tell you 5 years from now that, Tyler the Creator was the best rapper in 2021. And that's why Nas got the cover, because Nas was MC of the year. Nas was MC of the year. Nas dropped Magic, and Nas dropped King's Disease too. But don't be surprised if, a couple years from now, you try to ask somebody what was going on in 2021, they'll act like Nas didn't do that. We got it right here in print. We got it in physical form, and ain't nothing going to change that. You can't go to Wikipedia and edit that out. You can't go to, YouTube and delete a video or whatever. We got it right here in physical form. Yeah. So that's what it is. That's what the yearbook is. And we definitely appreciate everybody out there that, helped us write this. You guys that are in the chats all the time, man, y'all helped us write this. And Artist of the Year goes to Nas. Straight up.
Yeah.
So the first according to Hip Hop Grammy that we're giving out, it's going to be Artist of the Year, and that goes to Nasir Jones. Put out King's Disease 2. He was already in the running for that when he did that. And then at the end of the year, he fucked our whole game up and put out Magic. It made us actually push a lot of the stuff that we were doing back for the yearbook when he put out Magic. I was like, man, Magic
pushed our shit back a month.
It did.
Yeah.
Especially when y'all start telling us that Magic was album of the year. Do y'all still feel like Magic was 2021's album of the year? Because I do.
I don't even think it was a question.
Well, I mean, the only question was it that or KD2?
I mean, so the I Am conversation kind of, you want to know, hold on, before you say that, I just want to piggyback what you said off the yearbook, because this is actually our second year doing the yearbook.
Definitely.
We did the 2020 yearbook. Obviously, the following was much smaller, but our ambition was just as high. And I think, Mike, I think it was the pandemic and seeing the underground really provide the more quality hip-hop albums in 2020 is what made us want to do this and document it, because you and me were just sitting back like, it's like, no, like if we don't document it, they're not going to talk about Pray for Paris or Alfredo like they should, because they weren't talking. Like, you remember when we both heard Pray for Paris and we were talking to each other the next day and we sounded like some kids after we had heard it? Like, dude, I was like, did you hear that? I was like, did you hear what he just did?
Real shit.
And we were like, so in awe of the project that he had just put together. And then you came with it like, man, like, we got to document this, Coop. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the culture, so that people don't forget what happened or how it happened and why.
Or people don't try to wash it out, Well,
I mean, the Grammys are already trying to wash out Nas's 2021.
Yeah. I mean, even when Complex put out their that Tyler the Creator is best rapper alive for 2021, and I already let you know that they're trying to.
The narrative is being crafted.
Yeah, they're trying to remove what happened in 2021, and I don't care if Nas been in the game 30 years. If you've been in the game 30 years and you still put out the best two albums in that year, you're not discounted because you're not this generation's current guy.
Right. Well, not only that, Mike, this is what I mean about how epic the year was for him and why he's the artist of the year. And I believe I said this in the notes when I wrote about Magic and when I wrote about him being the artist of the year. Well, when has a rapper ever released the two best rap albums in a year, in 1 year, especially this late in the game? Mike, it's like winning the Triple Crown at 40 years old.
That's why I felt like you said, we did the yearbook, we started it in 2020. And I felt like that one was super important because there was so much good music going on that, like you said, was probably going to get ignored in mainstream hip hop history because a lot of it was from people who weren't mainstream mainstays. Because a lot of the mainstream guys stayed at home in 2020. They didn't come out with anything.
They weren't allowed to come out and play.
They weren't allowed to come out and play. I thought that was important for that yearbook, but this 2021 yearbook might be just as important, if not more, because the year that Nas had, like you said, nobody's done that. Dropped probably the best two hip hop albums in the same year, and it wasn't because the year was a bum ass year. Because AZ dropped an incredible album that we document as well, and Do or Die 2, that nobody's talking about either. And I think that these things need to be documented so they're not forgotten. And and we have our greatest MC ever, who probably had one of his best, if not his best years ever. That needs to be documented.
Yeah, we should probably say something about it and document it properly. And I mean, and it's nothing against Tyler, but it's just like if you go by the mass media publications,
and he's in there too. You know, we got everybody in there.
No. Tyler's album is in there. Sky Zoo, there were.
That's another one that slept on that needed to be documented.
All the brilliant things by Sky Zoo. I mean, West Side's Hitler Wears Hermes 8, even though it was released separately, was up there. Nas dealt with some serious competition. And was the victor, 2 times in 1 year at an advanced stage in his career. And what I'm saying is that, and this is why we did the yearbook. Well, if the media was deciding we're going to go back in 20 years and everybody going to look like it was Tyler's year when it really belonged to Nas in this culture, it's like to the mass and to the media it may look like it's Tyler's year because that's who they say. I guess for them on the outside looking in at this culture who was going to be, and not to knock Tyler because I enjoy Call Me If You Get Lost and it's a great album. And it was our album of the year when it first came out. And it was the first thing that we had felt comfortable saying was the album of the year, actually. So not to take away from the project or say it doesn't even deserve to be in consideration. But it's not KD2 and it's not Magic. And so we got to document it accurately. Just like when people was running around in 2020 acting like Pray for Paris didn't happen. It's like, no. I don't care if you don't like boom, 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 boom. Pray for Paris is better than your shit. So,
but and we even asked the people, so it's like it's not even just something that we came up between the two of us. We asked the people, and actually, I was conflicted when it came down to KD2 and Magic. The people chose Magic. Shout out to DJ Bruce Almighty. He says, "Did y'all listen to Mokhami Pray for Haiti?" A lot of people had that as album of the year, but y'all didn't mention it. We got that in the book too.
Hold on, Mokhami. I mean, for me personally, first of all, I believe Pray for Haiti and Balanced Child both made they definitely both made our top 20 album list. And I think that might have been 2 of the top 15 albums this year, Mike, if I'm not correct. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Let me go to the top albums real quick. Well, actually, we got a slept on album list too. And that's another thing that we do. Did you want to go to the top albums list or the slept on album?
I mean, I want to talk about the Mach Homie thing right quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I know I found out from somebody in our hip hop group that the proceeds for Pray for Haiti actually went to Haiti and Haitian Relief Fund. Balanced Child was actually the better album and had Balanced Child ranked in the top 10 this year. I think I either had it right ahead of Hitler Wears Hermes 8 or right behind, and Pray for Haiti was in the top 15. Mach Homie had a wonderful and stunning rap year and a great coming out party. I think Balanced Child was more inviting production wise, and as an MC, he just kind of zenithed out on the theme a little bit better, in my opinion.
So the top 20 albums of 2021 that we had were Magic by Nas, that got 5 purple tapes. We got King's Disease 2, that got a 5 out of 5. The House is Burning with Isaiah Rashad, that was 4.75 out of 5. Do or Die 2 from AZ, 4.5 out of 5. All the Brilliant Things, Sky Zoo, 4.5 out of 5. Man, that's a tough top list. Call
That's
Me If
tough.
You Get Lost, Tyler, that's 4.5 out of 5. Hitler Wears Herman's 8, 4.2 out of 5. And yeah, this is the Mach Homie record.
Yeah, my homie, Balance Child's right after the Hitler Wears
Yeah,
Herman.
yeah,
And then
there
I
it
think
is.
I got Arm and Hammer Haram, right? That
Well, Bo Jackson was after that.
Bo Jackson and then Arm and Hammer, right?
Let's see. Yep. No. Florin 2, I see.
I would probably put Haram over Lauren too, revisionist wise, although I was more impressed with what Wale did at this stage of his career, and I think that's why I gave him the nod.
You know what? You want me to read what you said about the Mach Homie?
Yeah, go
It
ahead.
says, while Homie fans are suing the praises, rightfully so, for Pray for Haiti, it is Mach Homie's year-ending stunner that burns Homie's Haiti roots. So, yeah.
Yeah. I felt like he just dug deeper and dug better on Balance Child. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
it's like a great sequel to Pray for Haiti and a better one, actually. I just found it to be better. Found the rhymes to be better, beats to be better.
You got Conway. Okay.
Got my
Arm and
Keener.
Hammer was after that, 4 out of 5. And then you got Pray for Haiti. It's 4 out of 5 there. The off season, 4 out of 5. This was a strong year. 2021 was a strong year. And again, I think that the notion of, what we're doing is the fact that everything in the digital space moves so fast that you'll forget about some of this stuff if it's not documented and sitting right there in print. And, so we took it back with that. And yeah, people are able to go on Amazon and order the According to Hip Hop yearbook for 2021. Like I said, the link is in the community section. I want to go to something real quick, and we're going to get back to some of our awards. Did you see the nominees for the Billboard Awards for Top Rap Artists? The Billboard Awards, I believe, is this weekend. The top rap artists for the Billboard Awards nominees are Drake, Juice WRLD, Lil Baby, Moneybagg Yo, and Polo G.
Okay.
Best rap album, top rap album rather, is Drake Certified Lover Boy, Moneybagg Yo, Gangsta's Pain, Rod Wave, Soulfly, The Kid, Laralium, excuse me, Fuck Love, Ye, Donda. Yeah, the yearbook's on Amazon right now. And,
So go buy our yearbook. Don't watch that. What was that?
That's what they're gonna go back. This right here on the screen is what they're gonna go back and tell you 2021 looked like. The hip hop landscape looked like. That's what they're gonna tell you in 2-3 years that the hip hop landscape looked like.
No, I mean Polo G's album was dope last
I
year.
like it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If we want to be real, when it comes to these nominees, Tyler washes that.
Yeah, he riding off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as between, yeah. I'm with you on that.
Chump 2 from Russ is here. I think the only knock that we had on Chump 2 was the fact that, he had a lot of features. But I think he did that by design, which is cool.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying is like, okay, so the collab thing has become a thing, but I want people to understand this is like, well, MCs who were all-time great had a tendency to keep that to a minimum until they got to a certain place of how they were revered. So let's go back to Jay. There's hardly no guest appearances on Reasonable Doubt in Volume 1. On Volume 2 is when the guest appearances happen.
Well, no, there are appearances, but he doesn't feel like he's dominated by them.
No, this is what I'm saying, Mike. When you got 14 songs and you only got 4 songs with guest appearances, it's not a lot of guest appearances. That's you for 10 records with, you know what I'm saying? And that's how
it's somebody on every song on Volume 2.
Right, it's on every song on Volume 2. I mean, he's not even rapping the intro over the Primo beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Antonio with the super chat says Magic was doper, but KD1 was better. Or is he? Oh, KD2 was better. I'm sorry, I thought he said KD1. This is not a Nas channel. Nas just had a great run, and that's being acknowledged, right? I mean, yeah, that's just what it is. And I want to get to that too, as far as KD2 and the Magic thing, because that was a great debate, and I guess we could talk about it a little bit more now because Magic is no longer shiny and new. DJ Trim Space King says DMX released 2 albums in 1 year. There's other artists that did the same thing. It's not just Nas, but I love your channel. All right, well, we'll get to that in a second,
Let's stop for a second, Mike. I need people to listen carefully. I didn't say it hadn't been done. I said nobody had ever made the 2 best rap albums in 1 calendar year. Flesh of My Flesh and Blood of My Blood was not the 2nd best rap album that year, even if you think It's Dark and Hell is Hot was the best rap album this year.
Aquemini is the best rap album in 1998.
Thank you. So if nothing else, Aquemini is breaking the DMX thing up. There ain't nothing breaking up this KD2 Magic thing. And so when you want to hear us all the way before you come with that.
Well, I also don't think Flesh of My Flesh is better than Moment of Truth either.
It's not.
Ray Rims, shout out to him with the super chat. He said Magic, number 1, Magic. Number 2, What Would Big Do? Number 3, Off Season. Number 4, Do or Die 2. Number 5, Symbol, Lil Sims. Yeah, the Lil Sims was hard. Number 6, Bo Jackson. And keep going on and on. Tyler at 8. I'm sorry, Tyler at 7. KD2 at 8. And 9, Street Sermon, Moray.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good list. But again, I think when you go back to it, and it's cool to actually see it in print, you see there was a lot of quality material that came out in 2021. And the fact that it's even debatable that Nas dropped the best 2 albums in that year, was it 28 years in his career? 27 years?
27 years past.
Yeah, 27 years in his career. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how quickly he put together Magic and how fresh that the bars sounded. He even was name dropping or shouting out, what's his name from Memphis that passed away, that was murdered? Young Dolph. He was speaking on the Young Dolph situation that happened weeks before it.
Right. Yeah,
and it's
Marlon Young Dolph. We killing off our brothers. Yeah. What do you say on 4016? I'm outside. It's not a game.
What's also in the book, too.
Never talk like that.
Song of the Year is in the book as well. And this could be controversial. I want to ask people what they thought we should give Song of the Year to for 2021. Hell on Earth 2 got it.
Yeah.
So it's in print. The Hell on Earth 2 has it. Now, the other songs, there were top 20 songs of 2021. Black Illuminati, Freddie Gibbs and Jadakiss. Nas with The Truth. Tunchi, Love the Genius and Armani Caesar. 99 Averex, West Side Gun featuring AZ and Stove God.
Shit's crazy.
Store Run, Nas.
Yeah.
Big Subwoofer, Snoop featuring Too Short, E40, Ice Cube. Lumberjack, Tyler. Scatterbrain, Conway, JID, and Luda. Fake Flowers, Bodie James, Currency, Rock Marciano. That's a dope record. Nas, 4016 Building. Hot Wings Blow, Tyler the Creator, and Wayne.
That's that shit.
Yeah. Praise God, Kanye West. That's featuring Travis and Baby Kim. Free Jewelry, Sky Zoo. Applying Pressure, J. Cole. Self Love, Mac Homie. Meet Joe Black, Nas. Man, Nas got a lot of records in here. Well deserved, though. Spoons. Westside got a lot of records in here, too. Spoons, Westside Gun, and Conway the Machine. That's a dope-ass song.
It is. I thought about putting Vogue cover on there, Mike. I love Vogue cover.
Richer Than I Ever Been. Rick Ross. Yeah, Vogue cover's crazy.
Yeah, Vogue cover's crazy. That's
Nas,
fine.
Nobody, featuring Lauryn Hill. Man, these are some strong songs. Bailey Ave, Love the Genius. Let's see, Proud as the Devil, J. Cole featuring Lil Baby. The Ritual, AZ featuring Conway the Machine and Lil Wayne. Angel on the Hood, Currency, Speechless, Nas. Look, man, Wayne had a year too.
Yeah, Wayne had a great year. Wayne
Wayne
gets the
had,
Phoenix Artist of the Year. hmm
Wayne got featured artist of the year.
Yeah, Wayne feature artist of the year.
Producer of the year right here, man. We got Hit Boy. That easily could have been Alchemist. Alchemist got it from us in the 2020, I believe, and we got a whole write up on Alchemist in the
Well,
2021 yearbook as well.
well, this is what I mean when I'm saying Magic changed everything. Magic changed the best lyrics of the year list, changed the album of the year list, it changed the song list. It literally changed our whole yearbook when he dropped it. It's like, well, how are we gonna have it
It
here?
changed producer of the year too, I
It
think.
changed producer of the year because we had Alchemist lined up. We was like, I know that Hit Boy produced the album of the year. It's like, but like Alchemist produced like 4 of the next 20.
Yeah.
And then he dropped Magic, and it's like, well, how can we not give him producer of the year when he's making produce the 2 best projects this year? It's like I know he got Nas, and don't nobody apparently have that right now because he's like back on his like GOAT level. But Alchemist was actually about to run away with this for the second straight year. And Mike, and early on this year, Alchemist is running away with it again because he did Currency and Benny's album and got joints on Conway's album. Okay.
No, Alchemist is consistent as they come.
He's already running away with it this year.
Now I like our essential albums that we put in the yearbook where we got Sky Zoo, All the Brilliant Things. We got Isaiah Rashad, The House is Burning. We got Do or Die 2 from AZ, and we got Hitler Wears Herman's 8 from West Side. I think this is side A. Yeah. Man, there was some music that came out, man, and
No, that's part of why I'm documenting early this year and doing it as we go because there's so much stuff. I mean, like, I got a list of, I can scratch Earth Gang off this list, Mike. I mean, I got a list of 10 albums to listen to. And, like, I mean, I don't think people understand this, too. Me and Mike are putting this together by ourselves. Other people that do these lists, they got whole staffs of people that they rotate stuff through and around. Half those people don't know shit.
Speaking of which, man, I want to go through some of the verses that you got. Like, you got, like, the top 20 verses of 2020.
So this is what I mean. So, Mike, let's go to the verses and talk about what Magic changed. I mean, Lauryn Hill verse on Nobody was the verse of the year from the time that we heard it, literally up until the point that we heard Magic. Like, literally, that it was penciled in. I mean, we argued about Gibbs' verse on Fake Flowers, I think, because you felt like that might have been better, right? Than Lauren's verse?
Yeah.
And then we had a
conversation.
It was
that, and it was also Jay Electronica's verse.
Right. Electronica's verse on
Lord Jesus.
Yeah, on the Slavery album. Right. It's the album where the engineer was forced into slavery unnecessarily. But yeah, so we were arguing about that, and I was like, the Electronica verse is like everything that you want in a verse, but it's like, I don't know if it has the impact of that Lauryn or that Gibbs verse. But then Nas came with that verse on The Truth, and I was like, Mike, I was like, I don't know if people are gonna like argue about it. I was like, but I think this verse on The Truth is just fundamentally better than Lauryn's verse. And I was like, listen to it again and like tell me what you're thinking. You were like, no, you're right. It is better than Lauryn's verse. And I'm like, well, then that's verse of the year. And so that's one of those things that it held up the change. Because I probably sat for 2 or 3 days just about that right there. It's like, is that verse on The Truth verse of the year over Lauryn's verse? Because I had to sit and think about that and even ask you and sit some more. And so he messed everything up.
Now, which verse on The Truth was it? For the people out there.
The first verse. Yeah. No more foul plays, housing mentality, shooting. Yeah. Going out of town with a couple of pound plays. Like, there's so much realness in there. There's so much realness in there and how he's breaking things down. But also, too, it's like him. It's also him being real, but it's him hearing him on his rap shit. And that's what I mean is like, when that guy shows up on his rap shit, that's the guy that's the greatest MC who ever lived. That guy is showing up all over Magic, but most notably on The Truth. Like when he's like, can't fuck with me. I've been outside since $1.50 was the only way to get your face done. Doggy style CD, turn that murder was the case up. thinking when my first shit dropped, I'm gonna leave their face scrunched. I'm like, that guy's when he's rhyming like that, Mike. It's gonna be rhyme of the year when he's rhyming like that. Because how often do you hear him rhyme like that? That's what I'm
And
saying.
that
That's
beat and his voice is on point. The
right.
flow is
That's
on point.
meaning. That's the guy that guy on The Truth. That's the guy that wrote "Take It in Blood" and "Silent Murder." Mike, we haven't seen that guy. Like that's. I don't think people understand. It's like that guy that showed up on Magic. That guy's not even on God's Son like that. He's not on Make You Look
for real.
Like That. He's on Stillmatic, something like that. It was written Nas coming back outside to play. Don't nobody want to play with that guy on no rap shit.
J Mar says, no, the last verse on The Truth was the best. And you know what? My guy Mark, who's a super Nas fan as well, said the same thing. And I'm like, that's just how great he's rapping right now.
That's just how great he's rapping right now.
Especially on that song.
I picked the first verse over the second one because of the truth in it, because the song's called The Truth, where he's breaking down the scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying about how things go. Yeah. That's why it was actual the context along with the rhyme scheme as opposed to just the rhyme. If you just want to go bar for bar, the second verse is probably better, but to be rhyme of the year, you need to be doing a few things.
Verse of the year, The Truth, Nas. And then we get Lauryn Hill's verse for Nobody. Now I'm going through our top 20 verses of 2021 since we're giving out our according to Hip Hop Grammy. So yeah, Nas's verse on The Truth, the first verse. Lauryn Hill on Nobody. Freddie Gibbs, Fake Flowers. Jay Electronica, Lord Jesus. Conway the Machine on Hell on Earth Part 2. Nas Store Run, verse 2. Lil Wayne on Bash Money. Whew. Yeah. AZ on 99 Averex. Yeah. Rock Marciano, Photographic Memory.
Yeah.
Nas on Speechless. Jadakiss on Black Illuminati. Ransom, Envy.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that.
Papoose, Bucket Hat Low.
Yeah,
Nas
that's
on 4016 Building. J. Cole, Punching the Clock. The Baby, Jail Part 2, which I think they should have given the Grammy for instead of the version with Jay on it, in my personal opinion.
Just realize why they named that song Jail too, Mike. Once again, that's about the engineer being in slavery.
I was going somewhere else with that. Conway the Machine, Distance. Andre 3000, Life of the Party. Skyzoo's verse on Something to Believe In.
It's a great verse.
Royce the 5'9", Greed. What a list. And see, again, this stuff gets lost in the sauce if you don't, you know what I'm saying, have this stuff documented.
And there was another, I mean, Mike, you remember when I was giving you some of the verses, you were like, nah, you can leave that off.
it was a lot of good stuff. And I think this year is starting off really well as well. And to even say that J. Cole is in the running for MC of the year right now is saying a lot, because there's a lot of good music out there.
Mike, I mean, like, if I were to name the 10 best verses this year, Mike, he's got 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to continuously putting these together, man. Like, get the whole collection. Like, can you imagine, like, in 5 years of just us doing these shows and talking to the people and everything growing and us organically being able to get this content and this feedback from people, and you have, like, a 2020 yearbook, 2021, 2022, and 2023, all of the stuff that's in there, it'll show you how good hip-hop is right now. Now, if you look at, like, the Billboard Awards, you look at the Grammys and all that stuff, and you're going to get a whole different look. Because based on them, the top artists last year were Drake, Juice WRLD, Lil Baby, Moneybagg Yo, and Polo G.
I mean, Lil Baby didn't even drop an album last year.
Exactly. And see, I hate when they do that at these award shows, too. They give people credit that didn't even drop an album. They might as well have Kendrick Lamar nominated.
Like I told you, this is the only place where black men get to go and like not go to work, and it's like, okay, it's the only place. It's the only place in the world that we can go and not go to work. And it's like, no, it's cool.
Well, Kendrick Lamar got a Grammy the other night. I'm just saying.
Defense rest.
Kendrick Lamar got a Grammy the other night, man. And you know what? For the people out there, his verse didn't even make it. Now, why didn't his verse on Baby Kim's record make it?
I mean, that wasn't even on the cutting floor list. Like, I had 40 verses and I had 40 verses written down, Mike. I think when I got to 30 is when I got to you. I was like, hey, what you think about such and such? You were like, I don't. I was like, okay, scratch. But like, that wasn't a top 40 verse.
Wow. No, I mean, I'm sitting here looking at these verses now. That Kendrick verse ain't better than this Royce verse on Greed.
Oh, Royce crazy on Greed. He's snapping on there.
I think that Skyzoo had a very, I don't want to say slept on, but I think that his project is one of the projects of 2021 that we need to make sure continuously gets acknowledged because it sounds so good and it aged so well.
No, it does. So somebody like Nas, who's already like an icon and in the conversation, having a coming out year, like it's great that we document it appropriately and properly for certain. No doubt about it. But part of what we're doing is for the guys like AZ with Do or Die 2. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Rashad releasing a coming out album of sorts with The House is Burning. I don't mean that like in a funny way either. I really mean that like musically, like he stepped his game.
What you did there.
No. I mean that for what it's worth. He stepped his game up.
No, it's a dope album.
It's a great album. Skyzoo's project was a great project, but also to like kind of like Haram from Arm & Hammer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's for. You know what I'm saying? Give those guys some run. Both of Boldy's albums, Super Techno Bo and Bo Jackson.
There's so much music out there. Like y'all put us on the certain music that came out that we didn't even get a chance to get a hold to yet. This can even be a guide for some shit you might have missed. Because Arm & Hammer didn't get to us until the end of the year.
Mike, when it got to me, I was like, man, Mike, that was the project where we were like, we got to give Alchemist Producer of the Year now because we were like, no, that's too much. I don't care if Hit Boy got King's Disease 2. And then Magic came and we were like, okay, changing the write-up, Mike. I got to change the write-up for Producer of the Year because we got to hand it right back to Hit Boy. Just took that right back.
Yo, man, Magic changed everything, man. It really did. Everything. And they dropped it on Christmas Eve. I'm glad they did it. I mean, it's a great album, but it really fucked up our plans. But I think that, we were able to do an audible.
Yeah, we were fortunate in that regard.
You know what I'm gonna say, and I think this is when we actually aired the episode where I sat there and admitted to our audience that I was formally saying that Nas is the greatest MC of all time over Jay-Z. Magic did that because it was before KD. The first one, I'm still like, I still give the slight edge to Jay. KD 2. I was like, neck and neck. I still give the slight edge to Jay, but Nas might have this because KD2 is really dope. But Magic, I was like, argument's over. You can only hold on to things for so long. Like you said, at some point, you have to have evidence and you have to have proof. And I started looking at the 2010s, and I didn't have a lot of proof. So Nas the greatest MC of all time, and Magic was important in that light for me, where it was like I could no longer deny it anymore. I couldn't sit here on this microphone and lie to you guys like he wasn't the greatest.
I mean, I think, and this is probably, it's the undeniability of Magic. It's like you're hearing it and you're like, no, that's the guy that was rapping in the 90s.
Yeah, it is.
Like, hold on. It's like, we all thought that guy died, like, and was cool with him being dead. Like, no way, that guy cannot be revived.
It's literally like if I heard Ghost come out with an album tomorrow sounding like Supreme Clientele. Because if Nas would have told us that album was old, I would have believed it. If he would have said, you know what, these songs are old, we dug them up and put them out, I would have believed it. The way he sounded on Magic.
Right. And so for him to pull off that feat, it's like, no, the bar is different. The ante of it is changed with what he just did. It's like, for me, KD1 made it a fair conversation. It's like, either way you want to go, this is completely a square and flat conversation. KD2 put it over the top for me. Mm-hmm. Magic is like, there's really nothing to talk about until Jay releases his next project. And then we can revisit this and have another discussion. But understand that the bar to get in now is KD2 and Magic, and I don't think he's going to hit that bar. That makes Nas the GOAT.
I don't see it coming. Jamar asked me if I had Nas at second prior. Yes, I did. Nas is, top
Yeah,
three my whole life,
yeah.
I would say. But this is the thing, and to piggyback on what you said, based on the output that we've been getting from Jay, and I know that this verse on the Pusha T album, it's dope. But I don't see him outdoing KD2 and Magic. Maybe one of the two, but and then we still got KD3 coming. So it's like he has a lot of catching up to do if I think he's gonna catch Nas. I think Nas is just past him, man. As Jigga would say, man, started up fast, now you wheezing in the back. That's where we're at right now.
I mean, Mike, all jokes aside, it's like we've got Illmatic. It was written.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Tapes. Stillmatic. Godson. And now KD2 and Magic. Mike, ain't nobody got no classic catalog like that in the history of rap. That's what I'm saying. It's like, like we always relate it to Jay because it's like it's obviously like been like between them for a minute now. But Mike, nobody has that. I just named 7 classic rap albums.
This is Tom Brady-ish. Shout out to Jason with the super chat. He says, 3 months in and I'm still listening to Magic. He is the GOAT.
Mike,
It's kind of, what it reminds me of? Like
rap albums.
I was a Tom Brady guy. I've been saying Tom Brady's the GOAT for maybe the past, 2022? No. For the past 12, 13 years.
So Mike,
many of my friends are Peyton Manning fans, right? And I think you're a Peyton Manning fan, right?
No, Mike, I was about to say, this is probably the one thing that we've agreed upon all these years. I've been the main one that's been behind you the whole time with the Brady GOAT thing early on. You and me were early on that vote. It's like, no, give me that guy. And you and me were talking like that when Peyton was still alive and winning MVPs in the league. I was like, no, give me Tom.
No, exactly. And so I remember most of my friends were Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers fans.
Yep.
All of them now, it's undeniable now. And that's what we do. Like, everybody has their horse at a certain point. But when someone ends up surpassing the other person, it is what it is. I've been saying Jay was the greatest since I went to his concert in 2002. Right. And he was up there on stage for 2-3 hours. And he did a whole bunch of joints. And a lot of the joints he didn't even do. I'm like, man, I don't see Nas being able to do this. Right. That was my justification at that point. And then things kept going. But now, we're starting to line everything up. We line the beginning of the career up. We line the latter part of it up. Nas got this. And it's going to take a lot to come back from, too, because, again, KD3 is on the way. I don't even know what comes after that.
So you want to know what's funny? I recorded my first album in California. My guy, Obi, who lives in Colombia now. And Obi's a Peyton Manning guy. This is 2006. So Brady already has 3 rings, but Peyton has all the MVPs and all the numbers. He squatted up that year.
Right.
I can remember I moved back to Georgia. That's the year that Peyton finally broke through. Mike came back from 21-3 in Indianapolis in the AFC Championship game against Peyton. Against Brady. They went to the Super Bowl and won. I remember Obi hit me and was like, see what I told you? And I was like, no. I was like, I remember hitting him back like, no. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's see what Tom did. And then we had 2007 to 2012, which is why I was like, yeah, give me that guy. And so what Nas has done is very comparable to what Tom Brady did in that conversation, is that he's had a run in a brief period of time while the other guy is there and active. The other guy just hasn't won anything or put no numbers on the board, really, Mike. And so,
this is what I'm going to say. And I know Leroy Green is in here talking about, a written testimony and this and that. All right. This is what I'm going to say, Leroy Green, and to all the Jay fans out there, and I'm a Jay fan as well. Over the past 10 years, okay, we see Watch the Throne. He needed Kanye for that. That's clearly more of a Kanye thing. Magna Carta Holy Grail is trash. Probably his worst album, in my opinion. 444, people like it, but I think if we keep it all the way real for the Jay that we know and based on his albums, it's towards the bottom as well. tell me you guys don't want to count the Carter's album. If we're counting the Carter's album in his catalog, that's more towards the bottom top 5 as well, I would imagine, right?
That's traumatic.
Yeah. Okay. And then you want to bring up a written testimony. I don't even want to count a written testimony because he didn't even want to put his name on it. And, I know he has this streak of #1 albums. And I think that's the reason why the Carters was called the Carters. And I think that's why he didn't even put his name on the Jay Electronica album. Because if he would have done that, it wouldn't have been a #1. So if he's not going to put his name on that album, I'm not going to count it in his catalog. That's just how I feel about it.
And here, it was kind of like a sneak attack thing. I mean, for those who know have been following us from the inception, our first podcast ever and podcast review was about what? Jay Electronica's a written testimony. Yeah. And I didn't even take issue with Jay popping up. I took more issue with Jay Electronica at the time taking this long to release an album and letting Jay ride shotgun.
Well, I think Jay was the one that came and was like, look, you don't have a finished project, I can finish it for you. Because, he works at that pace.
And he works in Electronica works at that place.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know if I can count it into Jay's catalog. And you know what? Let's just say if we do. In his illustrious catalog, you're telling me 3 of the 5 albums he put out are collaboration albums? One with Beyonce, one with Kanye, and one with Jay Electronica, and the other 2 are some mid. Let's be real. So based on that pace, I don't see him making not only a KD2 level, but definitely not a Magic level, and not even a KD1 level at this point. We got to get into the entry level at this point. He hadn't even done a KD level solo venture at this point.
I mean, Mike, you understand I brought up 7 classic Nas albums, and then we can get to stuff like KD1 and Life is Good. That's 9 albums. Now we 9 deep. You get what I'm saying?
J5 says Nas ain't got 7 classics. Okay.
Yes, he does. Let's stop for a second. What
albums are you saying are classic? Because I probably agree with. I don't think it's 7.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Illmatic.
Okay. Classic.
It was. Mike, you can't sit up there and say that 96 Nas is the greatest MC you've ever heard and think that it was written as not a classic. It's held up phenomenally well.
It has. I've never viewed it was written as classic, but people do. So,
Mike, the worst
I
song
can't deny it.
Mike, the worst song on there is Black Girl Lost or Watch Them Niggas. That's a classic rap album.
Okay.
Have you heard him rhyming on Watch
It is what it is, man. Like, people will label it was written a classic, even though I kind of skip around the album. But I think doing this show and even working with According to Hip Hop all these years, I realized that classic doesn't always mean no skip. It's something else. So that album does have that something else.
Okay, so if we're going,
and people in the chat are telling me it's a classic. So yeah, that proves that point. It is a classic.
If we're going classic, no skips. Very few rap albums have been classic. Okay, It gets extremely shorter. It gets extremely short if we're talking about rap albums that have nothing. Right.
An album doesn't have to be 5 mics to be a classic. Basically.
Right.
AKs and Curtains with the super chat. He says, what does it say? I'm sorry. He says, Jay has to watch this show to get motivation or lose 400 milli. Jay is comfortable. It seems like a hobby for him. And I agree with that. My wife doesn't believe that. I mean, she's a super Jay-Z fan. She doesn't believe that Jay-Z's listening to us. And, I showed her that clip that somebody made on Twitter. She's like, that's crazy. Jay-Z's not watching you guys' show. I was like, I think that I was like, look, what motivates somebody at this point who wants to get hungry again? Nobody else is talking this stuff that we're talking. So I kind of agree with that narrative, AKs and Curtains. He could be watching, or he could be Leroy Green. He could be right under our nose. Who knows?
Mike, you tell Dan the streets is watching.
The streets is watching. These guys are from the streets, man. Like, they see everything.
Hold on. So we're 2 classics in, right? Can I interest you in the Lost Tapes? Is that a classic?
The Lost Tapes. I don't think the Lost Tapes is a classic. It's a
You know?
dope album. Super
Hold on,
dope
Mike. You
album.
understand? You understand? Blazer 50, Purple, Do Rags, My Way, No Ideas Original.
I don't
Like I'm
just throw classic around. It's a dope ass album.
no, Mike.
Because if we talk about
You can make an
classics,
argument that
the
no.
classics that year, The Fix, and
Okay.
not to say all classics are, you know.
Hold on. So, Mike, after The Fix, what was the next best rap album that year to you?
You're gonna laugh when I say this. I think that the Eminem show might have been.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. The Lost Tapes is like Do Rags is better than everything on the Eminem show. What is wrong with you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Okay,
Right.
people in the chat are saying that the Lost Tapes is a classic. So there we
And
go.
it
3.
is, Mike, look, the lineup on the Lost Tapes might be better than it was written, Mike, because that's the real I Am sitting in there somewhere. Right. Mike, Stillmatic.
Stillmatic's a classic.
So we're already 4 deep. We're 4 deep. Mike, Godson.
Y'all saying I'm bugging. No, I'm trying to just talk about this without just saying, yeah. I don't think Godson's a classic. Now that one I'm gonna say no.
Now, Mike, of
people
all
are saying
albums,
Godson's a classic too.
No, I'm about to say, now, Mike, of all the albums that we're naming, that's the one album that I agree with you that I personally don't think is a classic. And every time I tell Nas fans that that album's not a classic and it's at the top of his great albums, they look at me like I'm crazy and they say, but Coop, Get Down and Made You Look is on there, and I just throw my hands up.
Made You Look is my favorite Nas single.
It's the best single of his career.
Incredible song.
Yeah.
Let's leave Godson out because, and I know a lot of people love Godson, but
is the people's favorite. Like of his classic albums, Mike, I'm telling you, Godson is the people's favorite. That's his People's Champ album. They love Godson.
I think KD2 is better than Godson.
It is better than Godson, Mike. Guess where we're going next after Godson? We're going to KD2.
Okay. And if KD2 and Magic are classics, that's 6 classics.
Right.
And if people want to consider Godson, that's 7.
Right. And then we still have KD1 and Life is Good. Don't tell me that Jay is the greatest MC of all time with a lineup just catalog-wise like that. You don't want to get into this rhyming-ass conversation. You feel me?
Let me ask you a question. I know we kind of talked about this when Magic came out.
Devices.
Magic or Lost Tapes?
Ooh, Mike, that's what I'm saying.
I'm going Magic.
I'm probably... Mike, when I listen to Magic, I have to ask myself sometimes...
And I love No Ideas Original and Drunk by Myself and and Blazer 50,
you know how I feel about
Do Rags.
50 is some of my personal favorite Nas stuff. But when I listen to Magic, sometimes I ask myself, is It Was Written in the Lost Tapes better than Magic? I don't know. Which means it's in his top 5 albums, which means, how about this? Some people have Magic at number 2, and I'm not going to necessarily argue with that. That's how great Magic is. If he's the greatest MC of all time, there are people that have it slotted right under Illmatic, and ahead of It Was Written, the Lost Tapes, Stillmatic, and Godson, and KD2. That's real.
I'm going to go Magic when it comes to, if you factor in the situation. If you factor in him being 27 years in his career, dropping 2 albums in 1 year, I think Magic's more impressive than It Was Written and Stillmatic from that standpoint. But if we just go straight to the music, that becomes a different conversation and it's a little bit more dicey. I agree with you. Like the Stillmatic has so many home runs, it's hard to put Magic above Stillmatic.
I mean, I probably need some more time because these other albums we're talking about, we've had 2 decades to sit on.
Mm-hmm.
But just early thought, I would go. I mean, Mike, I'm sorry. Like when I had that tape that It Was Written, and it got the record 6 and 7, which is Taken in Blood and Silent Murder. I was like, well, I just don't know. And so it's hard for me, nostalgic-wise, to get that moment out of my mind, what I heard. So I'm probably still going to lean Illmatic. It Was Written. But after that, I probably will go Magic. And here's why. Stillmatic and Lost Tapes got a little filler.
Yeah.
Lil Phil. And so if we're going to rate it by that old school classic standard that Illmatic is kind of held by, the kind of Paid in Full is held by, where it's like, well, there ain't no filler on there at all and every song is dope. Well, Magic fits that bill more than Stillmatic.
It does. And that's what I was saying when it came out.
And arguably the Lost Tapes. But here's what I'm trying to say. And here's where the Lost Tapes and Stillmatic win over Magic. Well, how is Speechless in 4016 and The Truth going to hold up? Because like Do-Rags is held up. Blaze of 50 is held up. Those home runs on Stillmatic, Rewind is held up, Mike. The lore of Rewind has actually grown more. The Stillmatic intro, the lore of it has grown more. It hasn't lessened. It's grown more over time, Stillmatic has. So it's like Magic needs to have Stillmatic and Lost Tapes effect over time to be considered greater, because music-wise, the music is there, but is it going to hold like that? Like, are we going to be playing, like, Mike, I played the intro to Stillmatic, it still gives me chills. Is 4016 Building going to do that 20 years from now?
We'll see.
Right.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Nas is the only artist, Nas is the only artist where his mid-albums cancel out the classics. But Jay, everyone, hold on, let me get to this again. I'm trying to put this on the screen. There we go. All right. Nas is the only artist where his mid-albums cancel out his classics, but Jay's and everyone else's mid-albums don't count. Double standard.
These aren't mid-albums we're talking about.
No, but he's saying that, people like to highlight, and I think they're talking in the chat, but I think that he was saying that people like to highlight the albums that are mid from Nas, but they don't do that with everybody else, because no one talks about Holy Grail. No one does. Midget Mike with the super chat says Nas and Nature has some gems on that Clue intro.
Ultimate High.
Yes, sir. There's another one that came through, too. We've been getting a lot of comments in here. Blue Collar Hustler says Godson is not a classic. Life is Good is.
Life is Good is not better than Godson.
I think that Life is Good was one of those unexpected things, at least for me. I didn't expect Life is Good to come from where it did. The album that I think there is a debate about it possibly being classic is Distant Relatives.
So, Mike, that's the last thing I just wrote down while you were talking. So, Mike, we're 10 albums deep right now of stuff that you can argue about the good to great, the classic nature of it. 10. Because I just wrote Distant Relatives down. So listen to this lineup, Mike. Illmatic, It Was Written, Lost Tapes, Stillmatic, Godson, KD2, Magic, KD1, Life is Good, Distant Relatives. Who, Mike? Not Jay. Go name the 10 Jay projects right now that's messing with that.
Well, I want to get to the top 20 features of 2021 that's in our yearbook. Because man, I love going through this yearbook live, man. And for the people who are just getting here, our yearbook for 2021 is available. We're giving out our superlatives and our awards since, the Grammys and Billboard don't really do hip hop any justice. And we basically put together this yearbook of 2021 based on all of you guys' feedback throughout the year. So you can go on Amazon, actually go to our community section on the YouTube channel, click the link, and you can order this yearbook straight from Amazon. But
hey, Mike, let me ask you something right before you do that. And this is what I mean. I just named 10 great albums. Let's take classic and good albums. All 10 of these albums are great. Does Jay have 10 great albums, or does he have about 3 to 5 classic albums and about 3 to 5 good albums?
It's a good question. Some of the Jay-Z fans, y'all go ahead and put some of them 10 Jay-Z albums in the chat, and we'll go ahead and entertain it. I think we got some spam going on here, too.
Y'all start putting the Dynasty album number 6 and 7, you're going to realize you lost this. You know what I mean? You got to start putting the Dynasty up.
Our mods in the room need to... Okay, I think y'all done took care of the spam. Appreciate it. Appreciate the moderators out there. All right. Let me get to this super chat, and then I'm going to get to these 20 features.
Volume 3, a top 10 J album? If so, we got a problem.
It shouldn't be. Antonio says, Lost Tapes over Magic. Papa Was a Player, Drunk by Myself, No Ideas Original, You Gotta Love It, Purple. Those are great records.
It's hard to hold up.
And I was listening to that the other day. All of those records. All right, top 20 features of 2021.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, Bash Money. Lauryn Hill, Nobody. Freddie Gibbs on Fake Flowers. Jadakiss, Black Illuminati. Jay Electronica, Jesus Lord. Lil Wayne, Revival. I'm sorry, Revival. I'm tripping. Revival. Conway the Machine, Spoons. Stove God, Cooks. West Hyman. Yeah, that shit was hard.
Yeah. So, between the verse and the hook, I had to give it to Stove. Yeah.
Ludacris, Scatterbrain. Conway the Machine, Hell on Earth 2. Andre 3000, Life of the Party. Armani Caesar on Tunchi. AZ, 99 Averex, ASAP Rocky, New Wave Gods, JID Scatterbrain. Two from the same song. That song goes crazy.
Yeah, Scatterbrain something else.
Rock Marciano, Photographic Memory, Amani Caesar, Forest Lawn, Lil Wayne, Hot Wing Blows, Benny the Butcher, Rapper Estates, Rick Ross, Scenic Group. Good
So
stuff.
I think a lot of people, you'll see this, and this is what I mean about how the game is collab heavy now. Some of your best verses now are usually features. It's like you usually used to get verse of the year stuff from people on their album. That doesn't happen as much anymore. What was our verse of the year last year? Rakim on Busta Rhymes' album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that's how it goes. So you'll see a lot of people at best guest appearance have best verse because that's part of how it ended up being the best guest appearance because they showed their ass. Kind of like JID and Luda on Scatterbrain. It's like, oh, well, they both showed up. I don't know how to call it.
They did.
They did. And that's what I mean about how collaborations are more heavy now. It used to be, Mike, when people used to get together to collab, there would be like one or maybe two people might steal the show. Like if you put 5 people on a track together, maybe 2 people would steal the show. If you put 4 people on a track together, probably 1. Put 3 together, probably 1. Now you got records where it's like, no, guys take it seriously and the level of competition. And so how you get something like Scatterbrain where they get Conway's verse, they're like, oh no, I'm about to go ham because I have to.
Yeah. I mean, because really a feature now could be your look for the year. And again, as we're singing right now, man, J. Cole's taking full advantage.
You want to know the moment to change that? And I think it's funny because we're having this Nas and Jay conversation again. Eminem murdered you on your own shit.
Yeah.
That's where this all changed.
That is where it all changed.
Much.